Are we making slavery okay in 2025? Trump just said that if farmers decide to take responsibility for the Hispanic workers that have been working their field for 10 or 15 years, then they can keep them and they don't have to be deported as long as they take responsibility for them. Does that sound familiar? You know why all this sounds familiar? Because after slavery, they used sharecropping and also convict leasing to tie Black people to the land. They did not have a voice. They were afraid because their boss held all the power above their head. This is the exact same thing, but now it's with Hispanics. That's not compassion, that's control. Keeping people in the field, but they have no voice, they have no citizenship, they have no real freedom. It's just a business deal. It keeps their business rolling. They don't have a voice, but they can pay taxes. I mean, this is the same play. Work decades, pay taxes, live in fear. And the crazy thing about this is the Hispanic workers can only stay if the farmer signs their permission slip. So they know these workers are essential, but instead of giving them real status, they keep them dependent. That's not reform, that's exploitation. That's modern day bondage dressed up as a policy. This is Lady Queen, Black with News.
So my good sis J-Doll says she wants to see the clip. She said, let me see the clip. Ask and you shall receive.
Back to their country with a pass back in legally, and we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? These are very, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so now that you have actually heard the clip, that you've heard the recording for yourself, let's actually break down exactly what Donald Trump has said so far. He started off that clip or that recording stating, how, they have policies and plan of trying to help the farmers, right? Because they desperately need these migrant workers. They need these undocumented migrant workers. They can't leave them without anybody. That right there is admission that the United States agriculture economy is taking a hit behind his policies and his mass deportations. That's the first thing. Donald Trump stresses the fact that the American farmers cannot be left without anybody. They cannot be left without anybody. And then he further goes on by saying that the undocumented migrant workers that he once was calling illegal criminals are very, very special people. They're very, very special people that cannot be easily replaced. Right after Donald Trump makes that statement and say that they cannot be replaced easily, he goes right into stating that inner city people are not doing that work. Words have meanings, okay? When it comes to this government and this American society, when they say inner people, they're referring to Black people. And when he said that kind of work, he's talking about field work. In addition to him stating that inner city people will not be doing that kind of work, he goes on by saying that I've tried, we've tried, everybody's tried. You know who everybody is? The American government, white supremacy. And do you want to know what their version of trying was? DEI eliminations. DEI eliminations. And not just that, but the undoing of so many policies and acts that actually allowed for Black people to have equal footing amongst white people in certain areas, in certain spaces. The elimination of DEI programs and incentives were intended to push Black people out of the spaces that white people deemed should only be for them. And I'm talking about admin jobs. I'm talking about jobs in medicine, in accounting. They wanted Black people to go back to back-breaking work, okay? Being in the fields, hospitality work. That's what they wanted. As of right now, 300,000 women have been displaced from employment, okay? They have lost their jobs. And they thought And when I say they, this white supremacy American government thought that those 300,000 black women were going to go back into the field. Instead, they got creative. They got creative. And so with all of these mass deportations, they thought that they were going to be able to fill the roles with their original laborers, okay? Their labor workers, black people. Now, see, if there's only two things that you take from this video, the first thing that I want you to take away is the fact that America's success is directly dependent on its labor, free labor, an amount of free labor that they're able to exploit from the citizens, okay? And the second thing is that Black Americans will always be their first target. That will always be their first target. When they think about getting free labor, exploited free labor, they will always think of Black Americans. Do you understand the level of hatred, jealousy, animosity that you have to have, that this American Constitution has to have to literally pick at one group of people forever, to the point where they are willing to wipe out all other races to try to get this one race of people to bow down? And they refuse. They refuse. You guys, America, had labor that you were already exploiting, but you were willing to get rid of them in mass deportations, all because you wanted to push Black people out of those offices. You wanted to push them out of those doctor coats and those labs. You wanted to push them out of those research trials. You wanted them to be in the field. So you got rid of the migrant workers that were here that you were already exploiting, because if that's one thing that America knows how to do, is exploit some labor. You already had it, but you got rid of them, hoping that you can force Black people back into those positions. And now because Black people said, let it all burn. Let it all burn. Before you come and get me, let it all burn. Now that Black people have actually said that and stood on that, you guys are realizing how you really are. White supremacy, white American supremacy is realizing how they really are. Because how many Black people do you know was opening up their mouth to say that, yeah, these immigrants, these migrant workers are taking our jobs? Not one Black person. Not one Black person said that. And by the way, that's what they meant when they were saying Black jobs. Hospitality, cleaning people's homes, taking care of people's kids, picking berries. That's what they wanted as Black jobs. They don't want us to be engineers. They don't want us to be doctors. They don't want us to be comedians. They don't want us to be anything. They don't want us to do nothing but work for them. And now because of America's racism and all you MAGA supporters that went and voted in hopes of making America great again, which really means white people in the office, Black people in the fields. All right? You guys are actually really realizing how much you fucked yourselves over. You really fucked yourselves over. Racism is expensive. It's really expensive. They say that with each great empire comes a great fall. And it looks like America's on its way.
Hello everyone. Today I feel so overjoyed, and I want to thank each and every one of you who's been with us through the journey from the very start. Our very first subscriber, our 100th subscriber, up to 100,000 subscribers. I want to thank each and every one of you. This milestone means the world to us, and we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for believing in this journey. Let's keep growing together, creating amazing content, and inspiring each other. Great minds blocks. Thank you. Yeah, who is excited like me? Because we're about to unbox our silver plug. And let me tell you, this silver plug is not just an achievement. It's not just a testament of numbers, but this is a testament of what an amazing community we are. Alright, who else is ready to unbox this with me? Come on, our subscribers, thank you for commenting, thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing our videos. So I want to unbox this with you because we did this together. It's us and you who did this. Are you ready? Who's excited? All right. This is signed by the CEO YouTube. Thank you. All right, and we go to the plug itself. Yeah. Presented to Great Minds Blocks for passing 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. All right, this is it.
Trump just said that farmer comes natural to Hispanic and Latino people, and while we have this conversation and discourse, I want us to take into account the fact that he's pushing for extremely exploitative policies. He wants a sort of indentured servitude where he gives farmers more control over their workers, i.e. migrant workers, because he's largely pushing for those to be the ones who work on the farms. When you're tying people's livelihood, quality of life, employment, citizen status to their employer and giving those employers that type of control, that is exploitative. When you're using a type of rhetoric saying this comes natural to them, that is exploitative. This is the same rhetoric that was used during slavery against Black people to look at them as subhuman, to allow them to push a narrative and a movement that everybody knew was fucking wrong. So when we're having this conversation about the things this man is saying, I want us to take into account the policies he is also pushing. Inner city people are not going to do the work. They're not going to get it done. And if they do get it done, they're not going to get it done right. And they know that if they strip the livelihood, if they strip the quality of life of Hispanic and Latinos and make them do these things, they put incinerators in Alcatraz. They put incinerators in Alcatraz, and people don't believe the Holocaust is real. And
this is too fucking weird. So Donald Trump is on CNBC. He's giving this interview. He says, we got to do something about the farmers because he says, we got to have these immigrant farm laborers because people in the inner cities won't do those jobs. What the hell is that supposed to mean? People in the inner cities won't do these jobs. Bro, that's an inside thought, bro. That is crazy. Then he goes on to say, oh, these are workers, they're like nobody else. I said to one of the farm owners, I said, what if this person gets a bad back? And he said, oh, they don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, they die. What are you saying, dude? What is that even? What? And then he said, he keeps going. He's like, no, my approval rating is 71%. And the guy's like, maybe with Republicans. He's like, no, it's 91% with Republicans. It's 71% with everybody. I'm like, bro, what is happening? He's so insane, dude.
So President Trump went on CNBC this morning and doubled down again on his baseless claims that the Bureau of Labor Statistics jobs numbers have been what he calls rigged.
The numbers were rigged. The numbers were rigged.
This is no surprise. He has been saying this every day, all day since the numbers came out on Friday, and he didn't like it. But in a stunning move, CNBC Squawk Box co-anchor Joe Kernan pushed back on the president, and he really pressed him. Watch this.
Rigged? Where do you get the notion that it's rigged, or do you have any evidence there?
It is antiquated, but it's also very political.
These are statistical changes based on this antiquated system, and it's just a big leap to go to rigged. And then it also, Mr. President, it makes anyone you pick is going to be, the critics are going to say, hey, he's picking a guy that's going to give him or a gal that's giving him the numbers that he wants. So it undermines confidence in the system to some extent.
So here's the thing. Those numbers are often inaccurate, or at the very least, almost every month, they get really big revisions, which is why a lot of big names on Wall Street have said, we want the president to explain why he wanted this woman fired. Because if you look at the way we calculate these numbers in our government, maybe it's obsolete, maybe it's flawed, maybe we need to fix the system. But the president doesn't have to clarify why he wanted her to be fired. He's already done it. He has already said why he wanted her fired. And it has nothing to do with inaccurate or flawed systems. He believes it is rigged because she was a Joe Biden appointee. But here's the thing. If President Trump really worried about the numbers and getting an accurate picture of the economy, then why, oh why, was one of the first things he did when he entered the office was get rid of the group that was trying to do exactly that? I thought you should know.
Hey, Papa Trump say he messed up, y'all. He messed up. The farmers need the immigrants back, y'all. Look there. Ain't nobody out there to harvest them crops, man. They messed up big time. You see what I'm saying? Papa Trump say them people screaming. Deporting them immigrants, that's interfering with $1 billion industry. $1 billion industry. The farmers say they desperately need the immigrants. They don't got nobody to harvest them crops. And look here, we know for sure, Mike, Tony, Pat, ain't none of them boys finna leave off the corner and go out there. Them boys ain't going back out there. Them boys is not going back out there, man. Them boys they had enough of that back then. So, and you can pay them boys top dollar, man. They can get them boys top dollar. Them boys is not going back out there, Papa Trump. They not going back out there. I'm sorry. I can't agree with you on this one, Papa Trump. I cannot agree with you. You see what I'm saying? You made a huge mistake when you sent Jose and Juan bike over there. You ain't had no business doing that. You know good and well that's $1 billion industry. The agriculture industry is $1 billion industry, Papa Trump. Come on, man. You know you got ties in that, Papa Trump. Come on, man. Look at all that out there. Who? Them guys ain't going out there, Papa Trump. Come on, man. You know that. But we respect that. It ain't no problem. But, look, y'all. Papa Trump say he gonna have the resource for them. They got the ESOL classes. They gonna get them, education. They gonna come back legally, and they gonna do the right thing this time around. They gonna do the right thing. Cause look, out there, they got lions, bears, they got crocodile, they might got tigers out there. I know darn well Mike and Tony, them boys ain't leaving off the corner to go out there, man. Them boys is not leaving off the corner to go out there, Papa Trump. I'm sorry. They ain't leaving off the corner, Papa Trump. So whatever you gotta do to bring Jose and Juan and Hey back, man, that's what you need to do, man. Please for them farmers, man. That $1 billion industry. Come on, Papa Trump.
Y'all, so apparently the Republicans thought if they got rid of the illegals and they put more financial pressure on the Black communities and the people of color that are American citizens, that we would want to go in the fields and we would want to do the work that the previous citizens that hadn't yet to obtain their citizenship would do. Now, hear me out. When the produce immediately changed, at first I was a little annoyed. I live in Arizona for perspective. So yeah, they here. They out here for real. And it hit us immediately. Do you hear me? When the produce went bad, at first, and not bad, but like it just was, you could tell. Like you can tell the difference. At first I was a little annoyed, but then I sat back and was like, no, actually, no, for real. That's what they need. They need to see that. And it wasn't just the produce. That's the crazy part. It was the produce and so much other shit that immediately like came like a wave through Arizona. They needed that wake-up call. I've been staring at a house that has been taking upwards of at least, I want to say 7-8 months to finish. Before they left, I used to watch, because this is where I live at, the whole strip is being developed. I watched them complete an entire development in under a year. I watched them complete an entire development in under a year. For perspective, it's a big ass development too. The entire development was done in under a year. There are houses on this strip in the past 6 months, they just been sitting at a standstill. Crickets, where y'all at? When the produce went bad, I was annoyed at first, but then I said, no, they need this wake-up call. They need to know the contribution, citizenship or not, that these people actually make to this country. They need to understand that
a land that was already built off of stolen land does not give you the right to kick people out when their ancestors were indigenous to this land. You need to understand the contribution and the amount of work that they did the jobs you didn't want to do, that I don't want to do on a daily basis. You also need to understand their contribution. Now, Trump wants to bring them back legally. Because he's like, them niggas is not trying to get out there in the sun. And they not trying to do none of that work. And not. Why? So you can treat us 10 times worse? You going to have to pay to play, baby. You going to have to pay them people to come back here. You going to have to pay them people to come back here. Y'all humiliated them in front of the whole world in the nastiest, most vicious ways. You going to have to pay them people to come back here. Oh, and just so you know, our produce has increased. So I know they let some of y'all back in. I know they let some of them back in. Don't lie. I know they pushed some of them applications through and was like, listen, when can you clock back in? Okay? Everything's going to shit. I bet it is. I bet it is. I bet it is. You need to issue a very public apology. You need to offer them something. Offer them something. Offer them something. Excluding the Cubans that was like, oh my God. I vote for Donald Trump. Lead them out. They wasn't doing no work, no way. They wasn't doing no work, no motherfucking way. They think that they white. Lead them out. But yeah, y'all, Donald Trump said that because the black people don't want to do the jobs that the illegal citizens that they deported, because they don't want to do those jobs, they gonna have to let some people back in. Y'all, they built Alligator Alcatraz without even so much as thinking about. And now that I think about it, I don't think that they're gonna let them back in without putting them through like a Squid Games kind of situation. Let me know what y'all think. Am I the only one that's Clark and T? Because you just built Alligator Alcatraz. And there has been a 60-minute video about you dumping people's bodies in the ocean and bodies washing up along the shore. So, I don't know. Maybe you should have thought this one through.
I wonder if anyone ever just tells him to his face to like, shut the fuck up. I'm going to play some clips for you guys right now that to me really just speak eugenics, like big time. So let's listen to part of it.
We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily,
So already he's talking about sending them back and getting them educated, which I promise you is not happening. Maybe in his mind, but it's not happening.
People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it.
Who do you think he's talking about when he says inner city? Definitely black people. So basically he's saying black people aren't going to do the work, because why would anybody in rural areas do the work either? I mean, why would he say inner city?
These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die.
And now he believes that Hispanic people are naturally born to be farmers.
Listen to this.
Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have. And I think we can't do that to our farmers. And
Funny. Now they're good people. After all of that, ICE has been detaining migrant workers who were trying to get their paperwork straight or had their paperwork straight, but still and yet they were detained. So now that you see that our agriculture is suffering, and also he does go in talking about the hotels
you see that you're not going to be able to get your inner city people, as you say, aka black people, out in the fields and get them working like you wanted to. Now you see the importance of those immigrants that you were just unlawfully detaining, sending to random countries that they're not even from. Find it very funny.
Latinos are made for farm work, are made for working the land. And they're so good at it that they never have back problems, because if they have a bad back, they expire. That's what Trump says. And if you don't believe me, listen from the orange horse's mouth in himself.
People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
What you just heard him say is one of the most common phrases used in the South to excuse the forced labor. They used to say things like this. They used to say, they are fitted for work. They are designed for work. That is exactly what this motherfucker just said. Trump believes that Latinos are made for farm work. That's what we're good for in their fucking eyes. And if you haven't realized it, think about this. They're trying to deport as many people as possible except farm workers. They're still deporting them, but they're trying to figure out a way to keep them. And the ideas that they throw around are very old ideas, similar to the ones they used for another group of people that were forced to work in cotton fields. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, then you're stupid. I don't know what to tell you. However, what they're saying is that we are, in their eyes, only good for that type of work. Yes, Latino for Trump, they're talking about you. They're talking about all of us. If you haven't realized that by now and how dangerous it is, you need to wake up. I'm Alex. This is my rant, and I'm out.
Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history.
I've been involved in dairy farming my entire life. I grew up on this farm. This is the farm my parents came to when they emigrated here to the United States, and I've been here ever since. For 30 years, I've been hiring foreign-born people because there's not enough domestic people that want to come and work here. We've built an economy that relies on people, but we have a public policy that demonizes them. And to my way of thinking, that just doesn't make any sense. I think the changes that the administration and that Congress needs to make is to have some easier path to permanent resident status, so that they've got legal status to be in this country and to be doing the work, so that they can travel back and forth without worrying, both on our local roads, but also back and forth to get back home. Can agriculture work without them? Absolutely, 100% no, it cannot.
Trump's the 2025 senior golf champion of the year. Okay, good for you. I see on camera every other week about where a caddy's picking up your ball and dropping it closer to the hole. Freaking cheater. This fucking guy. I can't express loudly enough the amount of hate I have for him. He's a liar, he's a cheat, and he's a grifter, and he's a groper, and yeah. He pays people so he doesn't get in trouble, and fires people if they release accurate statistics that he doesn't like because that show that he's a failure. Yeah. Way to go, America.
Well, how's everybody doing on this fine Saturday morning? I know some of y'all are just dying to figure out these puzzle pieces, but some of y'all's guesses are way off. Way off. And I know some of y'all have expressed concern for me, but I'm not hiding. Now, some of these other folks may be, but I'm not. I'm just curious, if y'all asked these folks what happened on Christmas Eve, let's just say it might have started out as a joke, prank, gone terribly wrong. But on another note, some of y'all have hit me up about running for mayor. Now, that is interesting. The problem is, even though I've had a business in town for 22 years, never have I been able to at least vote on anything that affects me. Nope, no say. If it's a city issue, just because you're a business owner in town, nope, not unless you live in town. You have no say so. You just have to go with it. But where it becomes even more interesting is when somebody may have offered me a house to be able to run. Now let's think this through. Do you actually think anybody's going to vote for me to be mayor? Probably not. Now, would it be an interesting twist? Probably so. Would it turn the politics of our little, what used to be called beautiful Maybank America? Anybody know where that quote come from? Upside down? Absolutely. The whole reason some of these don't like me is because I won't be quiet. Money doesn't control me. I can't be bought. Even though on a last school bond, I was confronted and asked, what's it going to take for you to be quiet? See, most of y'all don't know all this crap. Now think about that one. If somebody comes and offers you, what would it take for you to be quiet? And once again, the denial will start. But that's okay. I know, they know exactly what was said. So y'all just have to, I guess, trust me, I guess. But it happened. And one day I'll get on here and I'll explain from start to finish on how me and my family have been treated over all this. And for some of these people that y'all respect in the community, y'all just don't know who they really are. And again, if you've watched this far, like and comment and share. And let me know. Kevin for mayor, does that sound like a anything that y'all like or not?
Trump just paused all immigration raids on restaurants, farms, meatpacking plants, and hotels. Industries that are predominantly staffed by immigrants and undocumented immigrants. In fact, almost half the workers on U.S. farms are undocumented. What does this mean? You work on a farm, no raids. Maybe the harvest will actually be picked. If you work in a restaurant, no raids. At least you can work in peace. I even said this 6 months ago. Watch. United States farms contribute over $1 trillion to the U.S. economy. You want to know the fastest way to a recession and everybody eating canned tuna and Chips Ahoy cookies? Deport all the undocumented immigrants. So this is no longer about enforcement. Trump's being a businessman. This is about the economy. Deport all workers for eating processed foods. But obviously, this is all temporary until there's real immigration relief.
Sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work. Well, until their backs give out, And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
Defend this one, I dare you, and post your full name when you do it.
Idea of finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce. And I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not ambitious?
Take care of our farmers and hotel workers and various other people, and we're working on it right now. And Ron's going to be involved, and you're involved already. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm, and these are guys working there for 10, 15 years, no problem. The farmers know them. We're going to put what is called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, where they're going to be largely responsible for these people. And they know these people. They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden so I have a great, Ron does and Christy does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything else. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to run your farm.
Turn on Fox News. No. Don't scroll away from me. There's a reason why I'm telling you to turn it on Fox News. This is how you know Republicans know that Trump done stepped in it and that these policies aren't good for the American people. They have taken the stock market ticker that scrolled for the stock market off their screen. Now they ain't even showing it to people. They're not even showing it to people. If you want to see that sticker, you got to turn it on Fox Business News. But you cannot watch that stock market ticker anymore on Fox News. Go over there and check it out and y'all see for yourselves. Understand, they know too, it is no way that you're going to sell to the regular American them having less money in their pocket is a good thing. No matter. Ain't too many people willing to sacrifice their fucking families for America. Come on. America wouldn't sacrifice themselves for us. Turn on Fox. Let me know. Tell me in the comments. Y'all see it?
Trump just said that Mexican immigrants naturally do farm labor and that they don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, then they die. Can't make this up. He says, we can't let our farmers not have anybody. These are people that you can't replace them very easily. You know, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work, and they've tried. We've tried. Everybody's tried. They just don't do it. These people do it naturally. Naturally. I didn't stutter. He did say naturally twice. Then he goes on to say, I said, what happens if they get it to the farm the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? And he said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. You know, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay, first off, it should go without saying that no group of people is naturally inclined to do farm work above a different group of people. Like, that's just a blatantly racist claim to make. And on top of that, the whole bad back thing is just weird as hell. Trump is saying that after publicly announcing that he and his administration are working on a program that would make it so that way undocumented immigrants could still work on farms, but only if the farm owner is willing to, like, account for them, which just sounds like slavery. Also calling Mexican immigrants special individuals while you're literally just threatening to, and not just threatening, but you are actively arresting and detaining people who look Mexican and throwing them in ICE detention centers without due process. That just feels really like nasty and gross and disgusting. Anyway, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Trump is blatantly racist and thinks that all Mexican individuals are naturally inclined to do farm labor.
To the United States, because the inner city people, us, are not getting in the field like he thought that we were going to. Y'all really voted for that big soggy Cheeto Puff to sit up here and play Jeopardy with our lives? He is literally playing Jeopardy with the American lives, and y'all sat there and voted for that. What did this man really think was getting ready to happen? You gathering enough people to go snatch people off the streets, taking them out the fields. Now stuff starting to fall, produce not being produced. Now you're going to bring them back. You're going to have to pay them to bring them back. Do you know how you embarrass them folks, snatching them off the streets, throwing them in vans, throwing them in cars, putting stuff over their head? They don't know where they're going, throwing them in these camps, mistreating them, and now you want to bring them back? This is your president, right? Bravo to y'all. Bravo to y'all.
Yo, so Donald Trump said he got to get the migrants back. He said that the migrants, that the brown people were made for this, that they were naturally born to do this. He asked one of the farmers, what would happen if one of the migrants were to break their backs? The farmer said that wouldn't happen. And if it did, they would just die. Idiots. But he also mentioned that inner city people weren't getting the jobs done. They've tried and we've tried. So when he say inner city, I guess he's referring to us. And we've tried. I don't know what we've he's talking about. I know he ain't never been out there picking up Brussels sprouts or broccoli or whatever he like to eat. Now, the governor in Texas ordered that state officials have the Democrats that left Texas the other day to avoid the gerrymandering vote. He ordered state officials to have them locked up. Now, the Texas Democrats are in Illinois. They were in Illinois, but yesterday, the hotel that they were staying in had some, boom threats. So they had to evacuate that. But he also asked that the FBI get involved and to help locating the Democrats. And today the FBI said they would get involved. So now we're spending money on the FBI chasing down the House Democrats. Now in Florida news, Florida House Speaker said that they will look into gerrymandering the state of Florida. I don't know what good that's going to do. This is already a red state. We have a few blue cities. The big cities are the blue cities, but you can't even gerrymander that into being red. And plus, the red counties are upset with the Republicans anyway. So it don't matter how you redistrict, everyone is upset at what's going on. They're just trying to follow suit what Texas is trying to do, but Texas is failing at their attempt because the Democrats left the state to avoid that voting. And hopefully our Democrats in Florida are getting prepared for this gerrymandering attempt. Now in Texas, they're trying to get rid of 5 Democratic seats and create 5 for the Republicans. In Florida, they only want to get 2 seats. So we got work to do in Florida. Call our legislators, call our congressmen. It's your boy D. Pray, like, share. Ain't no manual.
So I know Donald Trump ain't regretting deportation, huh? Wait a minute, did I read that right? Did I hear that right? Come on, sip a little tea with Auntie. Let's talk about it. So you're regretting deportation. You went around and had ICE snatch them people clean about the fields. Arrested them, took them to countries that wasn't even their own original countries, and put them in camps that look like concentration camps. For what? Did you think you had another race that you can pop into those jobs? Did you think you can pay another race as little as you were paying those people from other countries who were here illegally? That's what you thought. You thought if you put the pressure, jack the prices up of everything, make it high, make people around here struggle, that you was going to have a certain race that would run to those jobs. I bet you I know which race you thought it was going to be. I ain't going to take it there, but y'all know. But see, Dino, let me put you up on something. Our ancestors, were forced to be in those fields. Our ancestors lack knowledge. They were unable to go to school and be educated and learn how to read, learn how to count, learn anything about handling business. They were forced. They were just tossed there, told whatever, and they had to do it. Shout out to our ancestors. Shout out to all the people who fought to give us equal right, fought to give us education, fought to give us our own mind, fought so we can go to school and learn business, fought to just simply teach us 1 + 1 = 2. We are not our ancestors. We are not our ancestors. Do you hear me? Dino. Boy, if FAFO ain't just, circling around the White House right now, you done fucked around and found out, didn't you? Bye, y'all.
So there are reports coming out right now about farms in Texas losing nearly 100% of their staff due to immigrant workers not turning up because of fear of the ICE raids. So let's talk about that. Texas farms generate around $32 billion a year in revenue for the state, huge, valuable, and there's around 100,000 and there's hundreds of thousands of farm work in Texas. And around 20-30% of those are foreign born, and around 17% of those are undocumented. So there's a lot of immigrants and a substantial number of undocumented immigrants. Now, the ICE raids have caused people to stay at home because of the fear that they're going to get deported. This means that farms are losing their staff. Some dairies have lost half their works overnight. That's halts milk operations and also means the herds are being tended to. But it's not 100% of staff because less than 30% are immigrants in the first place. So we need to clarify 2 points. First of all, it is an issue because farms require a lot of manual labour. And even if you're losing 10% of the staff, that's going to be a bigger impact, but it's not 100%. Now, the reason it's a problem right now is this harvest is going on right now. So it's the winter wheat harvest, so it's planted at winter, gets harvested now, and around 50% of wheat would be harvested right now. And it's a critical phase. That's not going to happen if the staff aren't there. You then got a lot of fruit being harvested right now: cantaloupes, watermelons, peaches, plums, blackberries. They're all being harvested right now in either central or northern Texas. And these delays could either cause a loss of the crop or a reduced quality and therefore reduced revenue for the farmers. So it's actually quite a big issue. There's also secondary effects. So hay and silage is having troubles being harvested. That means there's going to be a long tail impact because the lack of hay now is going to impact the feed supplies later on. You've also got problems with logistics, so haulage, delivery, and then food processing plants. So think about abattoirs, etc. If the immigrant workers don't turn up for that either, you're not going to be able to get the food processed even once it is going from the farm to the factory. So this is quite a big issue. Not 100% of staff, but it is a significant percentage of staff, which is going to impact food supplies.
Hey guys, it's Leash. Listen, your president, not mine, has decided that he is going to reverse this whole deportation situation and is suggesting that people come back to America to work these farms and everything. Not saying sorry, not acknowledging that what he did was probably one of the most horrific things you could do to people and families, children, tearing families apart or anything. No, he is basically saying that, the farmers here need help. And so they're going to educate them, get them legally sent back to this country to do the work that he thought the folks in the inner city would have been able to do. Clearly, if you read between those lines, he thought that Black people were going to get out in these fields and do the work that the folks that he deported would have done. And to that I say, sir, you are so detached from the people that it is pathetic at this point. How in the hell did you think that Black people were going to get in the fields and do that work? Like, is anyone consulting with you? I'm being so serious, y'all, because it's like, sir, most Black people are established in some way, which speaks to the lack of understanding and knowledge and whatever else you want to say as it relates to Black people and understanding the progression of Black people in this country. Not everybody's waiting for some handout and, oh yeah, I'll go work those fields. You're smoking something, sir. And it's not good. It's not good. So yeah, that's your president. He's a hot mess. And yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Egg Report. I'm your host and friend, Greg Perkins. So let's get to it. All right, guys, I don't make this stuff up. I just reported. So Trump is talking to a reporter the other day, and he said that Mexicans are naturally built to do hard work and that people in the urban areas, guess who that might be? Black people, that would be you, will not do the work. So you have to use the Mexicans who are naturally built for this work. He then asked the farmer, he says, what happens if they get a bad back? And reportedly, the farmer says they don't get bad backs because if they get bad backs, they will die. Okay. All right, guys. So today's hashtag is dementiagate. Hashtag dementiagate. Everybody have an awesome day.
See, Trump got up there and said, you know what? Maybe I deported those people too fast. Too many of them. And maybe I need to bring some of them back. Yes. He got on Fox News Live and was just like, I'm willing to let some of them come back legally, because the farmers need people out there to pick the food. I seen videos where there were farmers and rows and rows and rows of, food, but nobody to pick them because ICE has picked them up. Okay? And now they don't have no farmers. It's just like, well, let the farmers back out. Let them back out. But he's willing to let the immigrants come back in legally because he needs farmers, and who else knows what he's going to start realizing the country needs and that they were holding the job market in. Normally, we would want people to leave on their own to show like the power that they have. Like, who's going to do this if we leave? But unfortunately, they were forced out, and it showed still who's going to do that job if we don't do it. And a lot of different industries would feel the same effect if they were targeted. And that's why the Asian community wasn't targeted. That's why the Indian community wasn't targeted. You feel me? The Korean community wasn't targeted because they understand if we target them, our tech industry will start crumbling. The medicine, like different things, will start crumbling if he targeted other ethnicities of immigrants. So he targeted the Hispanics and the Mexicans and the Latinos, and he found out we actually need them. And maybe I wowed out. And this is why it's important for Black people, Indigenous people, people of color, African Americans, whatever you want to identify as. If you are brown, you need to understand the importance of us getting back into agriculture, us getting back into engineering, us getting back into science, chemistry, biology. We need us to be able to have slews of us in these fields.
Hey, look, I told y'all. When Alligator Alcatraz came up, everybody was like, it's so good, it's so good. Now, our president, y'all president, he done went on Fox News and basically said that he regretted sending them immigrants back. I keep telling y'all, God don't play. God not gonna keep playing with this world. What did I say in my last video? We are all people. But it seems like in this country, you are only recognized when they need you for something. Now, all them farmers are struggling. I don't know if Trump thought he was gonna deport the immigrants. The people who've been here for 20 years, paying taxes, building businesses, basically running the whole economy. And y'all not gonna like it. But that's what's been happening. Follow me for a second. Trump thought he was gonna deport all the illegal immigrants and put us back in the fields. Boy, that time is over. I'm not saying immigrants are slaves or anything like that, so please follow my message. You cannot treat people any kind of way. What do you think when you bring them back they're gonna do? You don't get to traumatize people. Put kids in the system. Leave them parentless. I mean, there's literally people that got deported. And I say people. I'm going to stop saying immigrants. Because at this point, everybody in the U.S. is an immigrant. Because we don't get treated with our rights no matter what. You strip them from their families. You send them back home. That wasn't even their home. Some of them been here for 35 years. All they know is the U.S. Back to that foreign country because it's foreign to them. No hope, no money, nothing. And because the farmers in the United States and the workforce is crumbling, you want to bring them back. They left as people and you want them back as slaves? You could have took the same precaution without the flights, without Alligator Alcatraz, and say, look, if you've been working here for a certain amount of time, paying taxes, doing whatever you need to do, let's work to get you your citizenship. But that's not the case. Donald Trump was pretty much crying on Fox News. Please bring them back. We got to bring them back. Our farmers are struggling. Our economy is struggling. Now, if you came here committing crimes, murdering and killing people, then yes, you're 100% right. You need to go back. But these are real people. I keep telling you, God don't play about his people. God don't play about his people. You can call it what you want. You don't get to play with God's people and think that it won't be floods, that it won't be wildfires, that cities ain't going to keep burning down. But you know what's crazy about this situation? I won't be surprised if they never come back and they just send you back. Black people, I know you hearing this. Brown people, I know you hearing this. Shit, yellow people, I know you hearing this. This is the reality. You can work your ass off. You can break your back for this country. Go to the military. Do everything right. And they will send you back. And I know he ain't going to address all the kids that's in the system, all the kids that's in foster care, all the kids that been abandoned by their families leaving. We need to address that. How are you going to find their families when they come back? Because that's the only reason why they want to come back. You think they give a damn about working? They're coming back to nothing. You took everything. Man, look, shame on anybody who supported Alligator Alcatraz, who supported deporting these people. Yes, I said people, because what y'all don't realize is the same ones that's rocking with it, all it takes is us. And your race and your face will be on the opposing side. That's what we seen. Man, I pray if any of those people come back, that they able to find their families. Because God knows that's the only reason why they'll show back up here. Because if you ain't never learned something, they stick together. And if nobody told you, remember Chemo told you, I'm just voicing my opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm entitled to my opinion now.
So Trump just said something in an interview that is straight out of a slavery handbook. And no, I am not exaggerating. He said that the people who used to do the farm work are hard to replace, and that inner city folks, code for Black people, aren't doing that work anymore. Then he said about the migrant workers, they get a bad back, they die. Did you hear that? He's talking about human beings as if they're disposable livestock. This is not new. This is the same racist pseudoscience and plantation logic that said that certain people are built for hard labor and that others are naturally lazy. This is the very same logic behind slavery, sharecropping, and the Bracero program, where migrant workers were cycled in, worked to the bone, and sent back with nothing. And now Trump is floating a plan to deport these workers, then give them a pass to come back legally, only to do the same back-breaking work. That's not a reform. That's a modern-day chain gang with paperwork. When someone shows you who they are with the words that come out of their mouth, believe them. Best believe this is not about farming. It's about keeping a racial labor caste system alive in 2025.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.